Here we are.
And we're live. Yeah.
One of these days, Lenny, that's going to be so smooth for us. Hello, everybody.
Or not. I mean, it's part of our charm that
Right,
we're like,
right.
oh, wait, people are watching us now. Okay.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. But happy Friday, world. It's good to be back with you. And Lenny, of course, always good to be with you.
oh, thank you, Karen. That's the nicest thing anybody has said to me all day, literally. So,
Yes, well, I'm glad to be the one to bring you a little love. So there's a lot to talk about again, which is
as always.
happening to us, right? So it's really funny though. I'll share a little anecdote. I was talking to one of our sort of loyal listeners yesterday, Karine Pepin, who is going to be on our podcast. So heads up for that. That'll be fun. But she was saying, like, it's so nice to talk to you when you're not on TV. And I was like, TV? This is
We're showing our age, aren't we?
TV. Anyway, it was such a cute sentiment. And I was like, there is something about being seen by a whole lot of people every week. And I think that, if we were, TV personalities, I would just want to say, well, thank you for tuning in.
That is like, and well, and on that note, we talked about this. Like and subscribe and hit that bell. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yes, that's our new. We're just going to be walking around like, hey, everybody, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. That's right.
Wait till you see us at IIEX. We'll be like and subscribe.
Oh goodness, are we going to change our signatures? Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and
maybe
subscribe.
We should.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe we should. Let's get on that. We should have a. Anyway, enough about us.
Yes.
Let's talk about the stuff, right? Let's talk about the industry. Let's kick it off with this bellwether report, because I know we've talked about this before within the last few months. I guess it comes out quarterly. Perhaps it comes out quarterly. I don't know. You probably know better than I, but this is not the first time we're talking about it. And this week they announced that report saw market research budgets declining by a net 5% in the final quarter of 2023. So yeah, there's that. What do you think?
Yeah, well, if those who aren't familiar, that is a UK metric, right? So be aware. And put out by the Institute of Practitioners in Advertising, the IPA.
Yep.
So it'll be, if we look at data, right? So like everything, this is always kind of backward looking.
Yeah.
So it's not current. And things can change.
Yeah.
If we look at the grit health metric from mid last year, it looked, okay. The projection was okay. We did hear anecdotally that Q4, I have heard anecdotally from lots of folks, Q4 was not the blowout that a lot of folks had hoped.
Yeah.
But that was very uneven. Right. Yeah. There were some companies that were kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
The Greg Archibald, shout out to Greg, just came from the Inside Association CEO conference in Miami this week. Said that's seemed to be the sentiment. I want to be careful. I'm not sure how much I can share, but that results were uneven.
Yeah.
Not disastrous, not bad, but not woohoo either. But so far this year, I've heard indications that folks are really busy so far this year. So who knows? Someone actually asked me what my take on all that was, and I thought, there's a lot of mixed macroeconomic signals last year. They seem to be not as mixed at the moment. The brands still need to spend. If they were more concerned about spending because concerns about a recession or economic chaos, I think some of that has maybe been alleviated by some of the signals in the market, and now they're spending again. So I wouldn't read a whole lot into that as a downturn in any way, shape, or form. I think it was probably simply an indicator of just lots of different factors were playing out. We'll have a better sense midway through this year on what that looks like. But I remain optimistic.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know enough about this report to really speak articulately about it, but certainly it might have been a year for, or, the Q4 in any given year is often a year when companies are using up their budgets if their fiscal year aligns with the calendar year. So, it could be that they're hanging on to some reserves for the what ifs. Like, we don't really know what happened there, but I just think that Q1 might be an interesting thing to look at, is how's it turning this quarter, because our companies then hitting the ground running? Are they saying let's do a lot right now because we have a fresh start, fresh year?
Yeah.
And I think Q1 will be really interesting. Will we get any intel on that in the next wave of the Grit report either? Also,
I mean, so that, the data for that round was collected at the end of the year, so so there will be some, and there may be some forward-looking component of that as well. We have the data. We're digging into it right now. The only thing I would say is it's a broader issue, and it applies to grid, it applies to the SMR study, it applies to this, and it's a definition one.
Yeah.
As we certainly expect to see more spend that we would think of as insights.
Yeah.
Shifting more towards analytics.
Yeah.
That's been a trend that's been happening for a while. I do not know if that is captured in the Bellwether report. But let's always recognize, as we know, we're data experts, right? How do we ask the question, and how are we defining the variables? It impacts these things a lot. So I'm not throwing shade on that report at all. It is a great report within the UK. But in a changing dynamic, changing industry, we may have to sometimes look at things a little bit differently to see if we're capturing it, as SMR has done of redefining the industry. And as we have done with Grit in kind of redefining different components. So, there's a lot that could be applied.
One of the links that we can share is actually, I was tracking this week that Paul Hudson, who's the founder and CEO of FlexMR, he shared a LinkedIn post that was kind of inviting a conversation about this particular report. And there's some agreement with what you just, expressed about, like, there's some, thinking that we have to do around the questions and the way these questions are asked in this particular, or the way they ask the questions in this particular report, and not to deduce too much from it. So if you're curious about this, go check out that thread, because it's interesting. And if anything, it's more, food for thought about how we do industry research, and how we report on industry research. So super interesting for researchers who like to dig into that kind of thing.
Yep. All right, good stuff. I want to talk about all the launches. I mean,
there's so much. I look at this list of like launches and seed funding that's happening, and partnerships and acquisitions. And to me, I'm like, there is just so much to cover. So friends, we will do our best to bring you some, pertinent information and have those conversations. But let's see, you want to start with Sparky AI because, that's particularly interesting to you. Do you want to start with behaviorally? Because we're going to get there no matter what.
We'll talk about Sparky. So we had hinted a few weeks ago that we had been exposed to a AI-driven really marketing automation platform that we were like, holy crap, right? And it was in stealth. It's launched, called Sparky.ai. We've become friendly with them. I'm friendly with the CEO, Ted. So shout out to them from that. But set that aside. It's what is interesting is it is an AI-driven platform that incorporates data. And fundamentally data on audience personas and profiles, and to craft targeted messaging for those groups, and to do that in an incredibly easy way. Now that sounds promotional. It's not how I guess there's no way to avoid it sounding promotional. It's an example of the pragmatic application and power of these technologies when they are deployed for a very specific use case, with very specific data sets. And it's very impressive. So encourage everybody, and they did just launch. There's pilots, all types of good stuff. Check it out at Sparky.ai.
Especially for the content marketers that we know are listening. And that's really not necessarily for when we kind of had a look under the hood here at Greenbook, and it may not necessarily be how we're going to start crafting articles, but it could be a super useful tool to help our marketing department. So with that context, there's going to be an audience for this product that is in our audience.
Yes.
And I think what really stood out to me about it, and this I would say is the lens that everybody should look through when they check out a new platform like this, an AI-based platform, is look at the quality of the content that it produces.
Yes.
And this is one of those where you're like, oh yeah, that's impressive. Some of them are like, yeah. I get it. I see it. It doesn't wow you, but sometimes it's really well done, really well built. And this is one of those examples. It's pretty neat to see.
It is. And not to be dead horse, but I think this is important. Now, here's the research spin, right?
Yeah.
So imagine in this scenario, so at some point they're going to add on image generation and video generation, because that's all there. I mean, Google just announced the launch of their new text to video platform today.
Yeah.
When those things start being incorporated in from a creative standpoint, when you're testing communications, any type of content, whether it's visual, video or written, the ability to do that in an incredibly efficient and fast way. I mean, literally minutes.
Yeah.
And then link that to a testing platform.
Yeah.
Now, that's a whole new ball game for marketers to integrate rapid insights and rapid creative executions. That changes things, and that's exactly where that's going to go. Right. So if you're out there, if anybody does ad testing, go check out Sparky and their competitors. There are other competitors emerging as well, and think about what does it look like when your platform is integrated into that, so marketers can rapidly test like that. So it is a whole new world in marketing communications, both from an executional standpoint and from an insights standpoint. And it's an example of that technology.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So speaking of rapid,
yes.
Is that really the right segue? I mean, some of the product launches that we are sharing now are really going to be themed for the foreseeable future about getting things done in a faster and more efficient way, right? So let's talk about the behaviorally launch, because even though the pitch may not be rapid, on some level, it is going to be doing that, right? It is going to be enabling people to get behavioral insights, which sometimes is a longer process, at a much faster rate. So let's talk about Gladys, their launch this week.
Yeah. So if you haven't met Gladys, go meet Gladys. Behaviorally, shout out to Alex Hunt and his team. Package testing was about as old school as you could get, right? Yeah. And they really have been ahead of the curve, and many other companies are doing as well. I'm not trying to throw shade on anyone. But in trying to find a way to digitalize, the whole experience of pack design and testing and applying AI, and this is the next aspect of that. Gladys stands for Generative Learnings, Attitudes, and Decisions of Your Shoppers. Yeah. So it's shopper insights powered by generative AI.
Yeah.
And it is a qualitative approach. Another example of the scaling of qual. Powered by generative AI, applied to shopper insights and pack testing. Yeah. We're going to see more and more of this. Now, Behaviorally is a leader in that category. They're one of the bigger players. So if you're a smaller player, be aware, right? Follow the money. Yeah. When you got bigger guys like Behaviorally going down that path, then that is where the future is going. And they're setting the stage, and now it's going to be a constant process of disruption, leapfrogging.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody looking for the next thing to jump and get advantage.
Right.
So we continue to be another example of the AI arms race.
Yeah. Because I think it's going to be a classic example of, yes, there's, the first to market, and then, who's going to come along and iterate and make it better. Like, this is what we're going to be watching, is we're going to be watching, like, yes, they did it first, but yes, they did it better. And, if the first one to market, sets the bar really high, then everybody else has more work to do. But my guess is technology's moving fast enough that the quality improvements are going to come at us and come at us fast.
Yep, would agree.
Yeah.
So, friends at Pulsar.
Yeah, it's another one. It's another one. So they launched a product called Search, promising instant search engine style discovery of news coverage on any topic across media types and languages. So really interesting to think about. And, I assume that there's going to be some other conversations around just audience intelligence and the whole aspect of all of these tools that are coming out, helping us make more intelligent, or people make more intelligent business decisions. So I just love the idea of platforms helping with intelligent decision making.
Yes, and incorporating multiple data streams. I mean, that's Pulsar always kind of fell into that hybrid of social media analytics and traditional research. And they've always had those capabilities.
Yeah.
Another example of bringing in new data, let's call it secondary research, right? But streamlining that process for kind of foundational information and looking for those signals of not just in news or in news as well as in social. So love seeing the companies that are playing on making data synthesis and convergence easier. And that's what they're doing. So hats off to them.
Yeah. And I love the idea of the language used. Again, this is just, I love language, right? But instant search engine style discovery is something that intuitively everyone's like, oh yeah, I know what that is, and you can imagine what that product, how the usability of that product would play out, right? You can picture it. Now, whether it's, it says it's that style, and whether we can get hands-on quickly enough to really see it implemented would be one thing. But, we all know what that's like. And it's like, oh yeah, that's going to be really cool if it can be as quick as a search. So
absolutely. Competitive intelligence, brand awareness. I mean, there's so many implications.
Certainly I've done some, social media research where the search was just, oh my gosh, this is painful. It's just not as productive as I want it to be, right? Or wanted it to be in my previous life. So anyway, so I'll be watching that one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So this is a painful one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Masa. Sorry, that sounds terrible. Hats off to them. I'll read it for you. U.S.-based decentralized data marketplace. Does that sound familiar? Anybody who's followed me for a long time? Anyway, Masa Network has secured $5.4 million in seed funding to pursue its goal of a fair data economy where you own and profit from your personal data.
All right. So you just have to explain the hit, because I know some people have tracked, right? But some people have not. So explain it's not a hit. Just explain why they beat you.
Because my curse is to be too early. So in all things, I'm, anyway.
I'm just not touching that one. I'm just
I'm not going to go there. That's funny. Anyway,
this is TV, right?
You totally throw me off. All right.
All right. Back to Masa.
Veriglyph, right? So here's the background, right? This concept 5 to 7 years ago, there were a lot of companies that were playing with this idea with the emergence of blockchain, particularly crypto, wow, we should do this for personal data. I mean, YouGov was doing a variation of it. Measure Protocol still doing it. There were a bunch, and there was also a startup that we spun off called Veriglyph, doing this could have come from Veriglyph copy, right? And it was too early. Only Measure has really succeeded to date. To my knowledge, almost everybody else, has come and gone, and some more pivoted in other ways. So on one level, I love the validation of the concept that this is where we need to go. 100%. We'll see how it plays out. Now, what I will say is that their spin is using that to power AI training sets.
Yeah.
It's not about traditional market research. Now they are basically, it's a personal data wallet. You are linking your data accounts. They are storing it. It's in an encrypted, decentralized component secured with a token. And then you are licensing access to that information for AI training sets, and being paid in their token.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. It's the right damn thing to do. It was the right thing 7 years ago, is the right thing now.
Yeah.
And especially with the access to AI training sets, because it fundamentally addresses the issues around data ownership and privacy, which we've talked about over and over and over again in the AI economy. Data's content, right? And people being compensated for that. So although I wish it had been us that got the 5.4 million funding and we're about to take over the world, but it wasn't. So hats off to Masa, because it absolutely fills a vital need in the world. And I hope that they have a better run at conquering that than we did. But because it's the right thing.
But lessons for entrepreneurs, can we just talk for a second, little sidebar about the lessons for entrepreneurs in general, which, we love your entrepreneurial spirit, and you get these ideas and you do your best, right? And then, some of them take off and some of them don't. But that's what makes it so exciting when those that do take off, have their moment in the sun, because we know that there's a lot of iterations sometimes for these startups. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. But don't let it, for those of you who are kind of walking the walk that Lenny walks, which is like, I have this great idea. I put, heart and soul into something, and then somebody else comes along and it's the better time. And, and they get kind of the lift that they need. It doesn't mean, failure. It just means like more to learn from, right? For the next round of entrepreneurial thinking that you put into the world, there is always another one. So
yes. Oh, we get at everybody who wants to have that conversation, reach out to me. There lots of lessons learned on those things. So we made a lot of mistakes. I'm proud of what we did do, but we certainly made mistakes.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that a good idea sprouts in 1,000 places, right?
Yeah.
It's like a weed.
Yeah.
And where it takes root, that's what matters. And this idea continues to sprout and continues to appear to take root. And we need to understand that, because I think that it's a model that the research industry panels should absolutely embrace as well.
Well, and we'll have this conversation a lot the coming weeks. The insights industry is doing a great job talking about data quality and how we need to, shore up some of these issues that surround data quality. And yet there's some inertia of actually taking action to do some of the things that we love to talk about. Whereas in the larger world of data, they're like, yeah, we're not playing, so there's something about that too, I think, at hand. Is like, our microcosm was one, but the larger world of data analytics is like, yeah, we're not taking this lightly. There's a much greater need than just what we tend to think in this industry. So
there is, and we've said for a while that the real path for panel companies, for the research, is to become part of that data ecosystem and be part of AI training sets. We can be the continual funnel to do that, and I think this is just another example. And yes, we have to break out of our silo and think about the opportunities that we have to feed the data machine. And I don't mean that in any disparaging way, right? It is a machine. It's here. It's going to keep on doing it, and our role is to continue to evolve to meet the needs of providing good quality data that drives better outcomes and decisions for everybody. So,
yeah. Cool.
All right, you want to talk about the Insights family?
Do we? Yeah, I think we should, because but I'm like looking at the clock also. I'm like, we have so much to cover. But so also coming out of UK, Manchester-based children, parents, and family marketing intelligent business, the Insights family, which I just like the name, so I was really drawn to this one, but secured a large investment. What is that? 5.6 million.
5.6 million pounds.
Pounds. And I'm like, is that anyway? In funding round. And what I thought was really interesting about that is this intelligence, this business intelligence information in an instant. And I think that we are these kind of two things that are leading us to instantaneous answers to drive business intelligence is Anyway, I just find that telling because we're going beyond just insightful decision making, but we're going into intelligent decision making, and the role of insights and the functions that the function and the value that it provides within an organization is getting strategic if it's tapping into business intelligence in a way that I've not seen before. We're going beyond just marketing intelligence. We're going into the big leagues, it seems, with this trend towards these types of fundings.
Yeah. Well, why don't we run through these last couple real quick? We are at time.
We're getting there.
Yeah, but it's variations on a theme. So German digital audiences SEOtap data and British AI company Illuma. A tool that combines audience contextual targeting data, right? State intelligence. Circana, formerly IRI and MPD, bought a Gulf industry market research firm, Gulf Data Tech. That's an example of consolidation, right? They have arguably always been a data company. That's primarily what they have done. And now they're consolidating in specific verticals and categories where there is a need. Shout out to our friends Jim Whaley, Ovation MR. They bought a qual platform, QualiB. We've seen a whole slew of those platforms recently, the conversational AI, qualitative solutions emerging. Jim's been around a long time, and for Ovation to see that opportunity of, we need to have that capability in-house because surveys are going to become more conversational and look more qualitative at scale. That's what's happening. So those were all deals happening this week, and that should give everybody a lot of hope. Go back to our very first, how's the industry doing? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of partnering, a lot of funding, deal flow happening, maybe not big multi-billion-dollar deals, but things are going on, and that is always a good thing.
Yeah. And the idea that some of these qual platforms are being acquired right now by those people that don't have that capability in-house, just hats off to those companies that we're ahead of the time when qual was going to be valued universally for the human connection that it provides. So. Yay, all of you.
Yes, yay, all of you. And then we want to wrap that up for a little bit of, was this good news? I think there were two pieces of.
We made the decision not to lead with AI this time because because although it's peppered throughout, like even we are like, gosh, it's always AI all the time. But MIT had a study that finds AI is still too expensive to replace humans in most jobs. So for those of you who have been thinking about the onslaught of AI in our industry, wondering if your job is, safe, check out this MIT study, because there is, I think, some security in that. We've been alluding to it, but we still will need human eyes and human oversight into what AI can help us with. And let's keep that in mind, that there's a study that is, helping to reassure everybody. So I think that's a good thing. At the same time,
right.
At the same time, don't get too hopeful, right? There's another article that we're shared that says by 2027, enterprise spending on generative AI will multiply nearly 8-fold in the next 5 years. That is, so, AI isn't going anywhere. May not be coming for your job, but it's not going anywhere. And, we all on some level have to not just get comfortable with it, but get much smarter about it. So,
Yep. So we have some breathing room, but we need to adapt. Yeah. So, all right. And wow, we did it. We talk about our own stuff.
We did it. So our own stuff. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we have an ad right now, but we are coming up on 37 days away from APAC Carly right there. That's like everybody like. Yeah, I'm really excited because this is the first time I will be attending and kind of taking to the stage to welcome everybody to this event. So I'm personally very excited. So if you are going, shoot me a note, because it'll be my first time in Bangkok and I personally cannot wait. If you haven't gotten your tickets, now is the time. There's limited registration availability for this venue. So we're on track to sell out. great speakers from the likes of LinkedIn, GQ Apparel, Meta, PepsiCo, Custom Asia, Mondelez, Edgewell Personal Care, and more. There's a lot of Asian brands that, Gojek and Snapdeal, and just some really cool partners that we're going to have on stage as well. So anyway, really excited about that and looking forward to going. And as Carly just shared, I'll just keep going. Use code EXCHANGE today if you want to register through next Friday. So for those of you who are listening after the fact, for 15% off general admission registrations. So code EXCHANGE, that's cool. Are we going to be doing that for other events? I like it.
I like it too.
Sure, but I like it.
I like it too. So, right. And we're still playing with the idea of, is there some way to incorporate the exchange into the live events? We don't know whether we can actually pull it off or not, but we're going to try and have the best of both worlds if we can figure out a way to do it. So it could be fun. I will not be in Bangkok, but maybe virtually I will be.
Maybe I have no idea, but all I know is I, am very excited to go myself. So again, shoot me a note and let me know if you're going. And I, would look forward to seeing you all there because it's going to be a great event.
Yep. And that's it. It is right at 12:30.
Yeah, we did it today.
We did it. All right. All right. Virtual high five.
Oh, high five. Yeah. That's cool. It's too bad that this platform isn't one of those that mimics your, if you do this, it puts up a little hearts on the screen, or if you do this, it does something like fireworks. Too bad this platform isn't,
It's coming. I'm sure. So, but happy Friday, everybody. Exciting week, more excitement to come.
Yes.
And we will talk to you next Friday. Karen, thanks for making me that was a good laugh. So,
every now and then you need a good old belly laugh, right?
Yeah. I never want you to have a conversation with my wife based on. On that note, bye.
We'll see you in a week's time. Bye.